it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. And much love going out to the Empowered Harmonizers. And I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. Thank you so much for going above and beyond and showing your support, showing your faith, showing your courage, and your get well wishes for me. Thank you so much. It is with much gratitude and honor and privilege to be able to produce this content, and we're going to keep it going here for you regardless. And also, I've received a number of different emails from those of you who have inquired as to where to donate. If I have been positive or life-changing for you, you absolutely positively can feel free to donate. There's a little PayPal Donate Now button on the homepage of the channel here, and you can go ahead and make your contribution. So thank you so much. And I want to zoom in and focus in on a great viewer question, and that really kind of centers around the dread of exposing or confronting a powerful narcissist. How to go toe-to-toe, how to, expose them, how to speak words of declaration to them. Not necessarily condemning them, but freeing you. Why is there so much paralyzing fear, dread? Even, it might be their position of power. It might be because you have tolerated this for so long and you have had to put on a mask or facade of congruency or cooperation with them. And you've had, in the meantime, to be less than honest with yourself. So you had swallowed quite a bit of mistreatment or misgiving to yourself, and it's now to the point where it's exasperated or it's gotten worse, and you need to put an end to this stage in your life or this relationship. Yet to do so would be to really expose the betrayal, to feel the hurt, and also to make a resolution and homecoming to yourself, realizing that you had perhaps made a temporary error of judgment. You had taken it too far. You had followed their illusion for too long. So this does make quite a being rigorous, honest with yourself in order to be able to confront them without fear, without dread, without condemnation, and without feeling like this is going to be, the end of it all, or it's going to just catapult you into a very unhappy or unpowerful space. And I'll have you know that it's very important to understand the reason why the dread is experienced in the beginning, because once you can identify it, you can dissolve it, and it will no longer be a barrier to you. And instead, it'll actually be a very positive, empowering, and uplifting experience. And it'll be mostly freeing and liberating and actually energizing to you once you go and do it. But if you work it up and up in your mind, in terms of what kind of outcome, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? What kind of retaliations are going to come? Well, realize that you don't have to control this powerful narcissist. All you need to do is confront them to take this off of your chest, so you can let them know that you know what they have been doing all along, and they're not pulling one behind you anymore. In other words, you've wised up, you've straightened up, you're flying right, and you deserve better. And so it's oftentimes a feeling of powerlessness if you are able to confront them. In other words, perhaps you had created a mask of dependency on them, or you were always there for them, beck and call. And so now to be able to, to confront them would be to point the guilty finger at yourself. And then, to maybe feel like there could be some retaliation or backlash from them if you confront them or if you go no contact. So the fear is really realizing that it's really on the upswing. It's actually the opposite. When you go no contact, you actually embrace your own empowerment, which is meaning your life for the better. So even though in the beginning through the love bombing, you might felt that this relationship or this situation with them, or going along with the illusion, basking in them as the superior one, was in the name of love. And that was the glue that was going to keep you together as well as the relationship together. And maybe at some point you had depended on them, or you looked up to them or emulated them. So they were a very significant person in your life. Yet there comes a time when you grow beyond the illusion, you grow beyond the lie. You no longer want to surround yourself with that sort of falsehood, that sort of propaganda, that sort of hype that oftentimes the narcissist craves, because they do run on a lot of drama. And at some point, it's not an admittance of weakness to say that you no longer want the drama. Contrary to much of society or Hollywood or TV shows, life has to be in this, always, extreme tension or drama in order to be, a sociable, a socialite or a sociable person. That you must endure this bantering, these lies. It create, especially in specific spheres of influence, there can be a constant degree of tension and pressure and change, and this sort of feeling of hypervigilance or paranoia, and always kind of keeping that as a chronic tension. And so what ends up happening is people then get used to this as a lifestyle, especially those people who have been hitherto abused in their life. They don't have a normalcy or a template or role model for a healthy relationship. So they are accustomed to being abused. So that's why they will attract and continue to attract until they wake up and they say, hey, this is leading nowhere fast. This is not good for me. This is leading to some, edge of the trail that I don't want to see. I don't want to be stuck in this cave. I want to go another direction. Until you're able to realize that, especially if that was your upbringing, that you are accustomed to abusive relationships. And then you are also, not only that, are you accustomed to, so future abusive relationships then quote unquote feel normal or quote unquote feel right, when in fact they actually just feel familiar. They have just been memorized and rehearsed. They are your normal. But it is very important through healing is to come to the state of a new normal for you, and to realize also that oftentimes relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath, especially those people who are very powerful, you have to match their energy. Especially if you are normal, empathic, you might feel less than if you are normal, or you might feel less, inferior if you have, humane values. And that to be cold, callous, and abusive is to be, more superior, or like this is the powerful way to live life. This is the glamorous way to live life, is just, kick butt and take names, do drugs, and, have a good health insurance plan. This might be the operatus moderandi with which these people operate. It's okay to, wake up sick. It's okay to use and abuse people. It's okay, or this is what the powerful people do, and this is what it's all about. And then, to confront them is to confront yourself. And so you, in the course of your relationship with them, you might have matched their energy. In other words, that's part of the issue, and that's part of what we correct here in having you understand, is that you want to stop being the force to their counterforce, or rather, likewise, you want to stop being the counterforce to their force. There are mirror neurons in our neurology which cause us to mirror or mimic the energy with which we have been treated. So if you have been treated by aggressive, hostile, powerful narcissists, with their tone, with their tonality, the rhythm of their language, their behavioral style, their lifestyle, the ways of which they conduct their speech, their sense of humor, their lifestyle, how they eat, how they drink. There's a matching, or a what we call a mirror neuron, where people then tend to energetically mirror or mimic the energy or tone of that narcissist. So people then kind of adopt a second persona, or they adopt a oftentimes, which is an arrested development for them, is to develop a similar false persona or mask to meet them congruently, or to mirror them back. In other words, they develop the mask of codependency, or they develop a false persona, which is oftentimes very temporary, and oftentimes the person is somewhat consciously aware that they are betraying themselves, and so they might have adapted this in the relationship where they will quote-unquote fake, or they were quote-unquote false, or not living their truth. They were not living true to themselves. It's because they were in a relationship where they were mimicking or mirroring the energy of the abuser. So it's just like when you see abusive parents and their children are unruly. It's because the children have learned this energy, this rebellious, and this becomes the energy with which they feed back, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. The parent yells, the child yells, it becomes chaos, there's no semblance of order. And, it becomes the new normal for that child to be unhappy, to live unfulfilled, to live scared. Not only do they not have that validated back to them, a safe, nurturing, and supportive situation, but furthermore, they are also not receiving the template or role model for healthy relationships, how to work through feelings, how to work through situations, how to work through, bullying, things that they might encounter in the, world. So they end up just getting, the worst in, not only are they, have they not received the support, but they also they're lacking a role model for what support or healthy looks like. So it's just like, you can kind of see where victims then are blameless for not knowing a how-to. And so that's what we really help to install or instill with you here on the channel, is to get that healthy template. And oftentimes that can also add to the fear of confronting a narcissist, because it's declarative in nature. It's a new side of you, and it's declaring that I am autonomous. I can make it on my own. I am enough. I am lovable. All these things, I am independent. I do have what it takes. And so that, but the narcissist, especially the powerful narcissist, doesn't ever want to validate you for this or reflect it back to you, because that is not how they do. They always want to be, the highest up. They want to be, I'm up here, everybody else is down here, and you're going to like it that way just to be in my presence. In other words, you have to agree to this inferior stratum while, they're the ones up here, and you have to, it's like you should be such an honor to bask in their glow. But are you really? That's the whole thing. Look at how oftentimes the relationship has not been good, beneficial, supportive. They've been sarcastic, criticizing, belittling. They've, caused you to become overwhelmed, unhappy, and you don't get the real deal. So that huge division or divisiveness between you is not in your best interest, and it doesn't make you a more popular, better person to surround yourself with a narcissist. Maybe in the beginning of the relationship, in the love bombing, you might have felt this, but yet you have now learned otherwise. And it takes a lot of bravery, courage, and self-validation to say, you know what, I got this. No more. I don't need this narcissist. I don't need this crutch. I don't need this. I don't need this anymore. But you don't want to, quote unquote, come from a position of weakness where you're then telling that to them. When you confront them, the best thing you can do is just come across with an air of intelligence, certainty, and complete self-validation and self-belief. In other words, no doubt, there's no room for doubt in the picture. Once you know that you know, and you admit it to yourself, and you know that you deserve better otherwise, and you know that you know that you know in the heart of your hearts, that is your ticket to freedom. That is your ticket to the good life. That is your ticket to living happy, fulfilled, and becoming the person that you want, and having the good life, the real life. It is not, going to be important for you to, reflect back to them how this, how that they are. Confronting them, oftentimes it does need to say, I'm done with this fighting, or I'm done with it, with being scapegoated. This is, and it's just showing if you need to be declarative, you don't want to engage them in any talk. It has to be very declarative or statement oriented in nature. And, I've seen what I've seen, and you know, I can't erase the past, but I'm creating a better future. You know, making statements like that, you know, and just, you know, and not calling out their weaknesses because you know their weaknesses. And sometimes the narcissist, their weaknesses, they don't perceive it as a weakness. Hey, guess what? You know, I cheat on people, I lie, I do this and this. To them, it's a strength. It is, they have a righteousness or a sense of entitlement, or to criticize. I'm your this, I'm your boss, I'm your mother, I'm your father, I'm your sibling, I'm your spouse. I have the right. No, that's wrong. You know, they are wrong, but they definitely enjoy being right. So you don't want to make it pitted against where, you know, there's a right and wrong, because they're always going to want to be right. So you have to own that in your heart. So much of the confrontation has to be done within. And so when you are able to confront them, and, you know, it's just like, you know, just telling them goodbye. You know, I'm done with this. No other words needed. What you keep within is your power. If you just make it very simple, and I'm done with this, your life is going that direction, I know of another direction. And don't make yourself better, righteous. Don't put any sort of pejoratives or judgment, because, you know, that's when you start to defend and justify yourself, that means you're still caught in trying to, you know, prove them wrong. You know, I mean, unless you're going to a court of law. I mean, you know, that's something different. But, you know, you just need to be declarative in that, you know what, I'm going another direction. You know, best of luck. And they'll wonder, like, where all of a sudden you came out of this is because you have been doing a lot of inner work, inner processing work. And you've got a better chart course for yourself. And, you know, that is all that's needed. It's you're keeping your eye on the prize, and your fear will dissolve as soon as you recognize and realize and accept 100% that this is the best thing you can do for yourself in your life. You've got this. You know this. You know, might have been procrastinating, you might have been holding this back. It's time to execute. It's a time to be you. It's time to do you. It's time to put you as important, you as paramount, you as the number one. It's time to get into a new league of your own, because that's really where the good life gets juicy. And you'll find that sometimes, you know, your fear of not belonging with them is really a coming home and a belonging to yourself. And there's nothing better than that money can buy, is that in belonging with yourself and making that freedom and that clear, clean break, and being free and liberated, and just being able to breathe easy, knowing you no longer have to be caught up in the drama of a powerful narcissist. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here. You got this. You guys can do this. Make a step. Don't procrastinate. Just pick up the phone. Pick up the key in the ignition, whatever it is you got to do, just do it. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and look forward, don't look back. And please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. All these things get better with time. Love you.